There we go. Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. Had a little technical difficulty there. Or maybe I did that on purpose. But tonight I want to talk about why now is the time to buy Bitcoin. A lot of stuff has been happening recently, right? And this is the time to be buying. So let's talk about that and everything else that's going on today. So let's get started. Welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are doing okay. Looking at Bitcoin is slightly lower than this morning, but Bitcoin is still doing pretty well despite the market sell-off, despite the FUD, the banking fears and closures, right? Bitcoin is still at 24.3, 24.4, hugging this support line now. Used to be resistance, now turned support. That is still pretty good, right? Now, what happened today? Okay, today we have more fear. Dow closed negative, the U.S. market closed negative because we have another bank that may be closing. More banking fears. That's why my thumbnail shows people lining up at banks trying to withdraw because there are a whole lot of scared people out there. And today was caused by a bank not in the U.S., overseas, Credit Suisse. Now, it was just reported like 10 minutes ago that they are borrowing up to $54 billion from the Swiss National Bank. $54 billion. Okay, now what is the Swiss National Bank? You may be wondering, who would be dumb enough to lend them $54 billion? Well, that I think it's the central bank of Switzerland. That's who they are. Earlier today, SNB, Swiss National Bank, and the Swiss Financial Markets Supervisory Authority, first of all, says, Credit Suisse is okay. They have met their capital and liquidity requirements. However, if they need money, we will give them money. We will give them as much liquidity as necessary. That came out earlier, and then this came out 10 minutes ago. $54 billion, right? So basically, Switzerland deemed that Credit Suisse is too big to fail. We can't let it fail. If we do, contagion is going to spread, right? And of course, the U.S. did the same thing with SVB recently and several others like Signature and Silvergate. A lot of bailouts everywhere. Where's the money coming from? Well, it's coming from that money printer that all these governments control, and that's where it's coming from. And it's going to lead to more inflation. No doubt about it, right? Why should we put up with this, though? Why should we put up with this? We shouldn't have to, right? Banks have been around for hundreds of years. Don't they know what they're doing? How could they be this bad with money? And when they go belly up, it's not just a few thousand, 100,000, few million. No, it's billions, tens of billions, or hundreds of billions of dollars, right? It's not a small amount. That's why Bitcoin actually has been doing pretty good. This is actually looking at Bitcoin compared to some of the European banks. But if you compared it to even the U.S. banks or banks around the world, it doesn't matter. Bitcoin is actually going up right now while everything else is going down. It's an inverse relationship, right? And you know what? First Republic Bank, which also looked like they were going to go under until they got bailed out by the Fed and FDIC, right, and JP Morgan. They got a huge cash injection and basically a loan. But still, regardless, their debt rating is being downgraded to junk, okay? Junk. And people had told me in their, during live stream that, hey, I see people line out the door for First Republic Bank, right? And they're not alone. They're not alone. This is starting to sound like 2008. And I've said this for a week now, right? But it really is. It really sounds like 2008. The only good thing that could come from this, well, no, there's two good things. Number one is people are starting to realize, well, I shouldn't put my money or all my money in banks. I need something better. And some have looked and turned to Bitcoin. So that's the thing. That's number one. Number two is the next Fed meeting, the FOMC meeting, or the next rate hike is looking more and more and more like a 0% hike. That probability has jumped up to 45% now. Now, I've already called it. I think it's going to be 0 next week. Okay? We will see. But with all the weakness that we're seeing from the banks, I just can't see Powell being hawkish. There's no way. I think he's going to be super dovish, saying 0%, and we will see for the next meetings whether or not we need to increase at all. I think that's what he's going to say, which will be absolutely fantastic. Short term for markets, everything will rally. Long term, not so good for inflation, but will be good for Bitcoin. Will be good for Bitcoin. And we received a couple of economic data points today and last week that are all pointing to a real possibility of a 0 rate hike. That would be awesome. That would be awesome, right? But why is now the time to buy Bitcoin? Well, Mike Novagratz calls it, and I'm calling it, and everyone else that truly understand our financial system is calling it. Okay, why hold on something that the government can print unlimited amount of? Think about that, right? To quote Mike Novagratz, if there was ever a time to be in Bitcoin and crypto, this is why it was created. Governments print too much money whenever the pain gets too great, and we're seeing that. Because that's the only thing the government can do, is to print more money. Where else are you going to get the money from, right? You can only raise taxes so much. You can only borrow so much by selling bonds. Where's the rest going to come from? From that money printer, right? So it's irresponsible, and that's why. This is the time to buy Bitcoin. This is the exact reason why Bitcoin was created. So short term, you guys heard me say, short term, there may be volatility. Of course, when there's fear, uncertainty, and doubt, sometimes there's massive panic sells, right? People get fearful and just sell everything. They may not really believe in what Bitcoin really represents, but eventually people will know and understand, and more will turn to Bitcoin, because this is the very reason why Bitcoin was created, because distrust in banks. So it's, Satoshi, if he or she or the group is still alive, they'll be very proud of what they created right now, right? And also, something else that came out that's absolutely fantastic, overshadowed by everything else, is the fact that Fidelity has secretly, they had this in beta. I know people that said they have used this. I think it's beta or select customers, but they quietly today went live with everyone, okay? A free, commission-free trading platform for Bitcoin and Ether for everyone. So you could go buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm sure they're going to add more in the future. This is from one of the biggest asset holders on the planet, Fidelity. Most of you guys heard BlackRock. Fidelity is not that big, but they're big. They hold trillions of assets. They are absolutely huge. They're in everything, okay? They're also really into Bitcoin, so they have just come out with, or opened up, I should say, their own crypto exchange, right? This is also extremely positive. Another reason why now is the time to be buying Bitcoin. Also, Cathie Wood is raising $16.3 million for a new crypto fund. So Cathie Wood is also very bullish on Bitcoin. She's been in Bitcoin, talking about Bitcoin for quite a long time, right? But she's just bullish on everything, really. Everything in the crypto space. So another fund based on crypto. That's awesome. Right? And of course, I don't have an article to show you guys, but a lot of rumors coming out that Grayscale will win their lawsuit against the SEC, and we will get the very first Bitcoin spot ETF around the corner. That is also extremely big, right? So there's just a lot of developments happening right now. All great things. Even with bank closures, great thing for Bitcoin, right? And of course, we have the halving event. We can't forget about the halving event, which is a big catalyst for Bitcoin. And we are definitely going upwards from our bottom, recovering up, right? And here's the thing. Every single time, either right at the halving event or before the halving event, we hit a couple certain levels. Okay, Fibonacci levels, either to 61.8% or to 78.6%. We briefly did that in 2019 when we recovered from bottom after being so oversold. Okay, before in 2016, we also hit that before the halving event, and it also happened in 2012 too. Will we see that this time around? Will we see it sooner, around June or July, or will we see it maybe closer to halving event in 2024? Regardless, we will see it. And those points is anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000, right? So that's also something to look forward to. Another reason why this is a time to be in Bitcoin, because we are definitely trending up, and history repeats or mimics or rhymes. We will see that mark sooner than later before the next halving event. All right, so those are Bitcoin news or Bitcoin topics or bullishness on Bitcoin. But there's other stuff. There's other stuff. You know, a few things about altcoins. A lot of you guys are Cardano fans. Charles Hoskinson is very excited about what's happening in this space, especially with DeFi that's coming into Cardano, right? Their TVL has been going up a lot recently. Their overall TVL within their ecosystem, within DeFi, is still low versus some other chains, but has moved up quite a bit due to their new DJED stablecoin, right? And basically overall, with a lot of problems from a lot of competitive, or let's just say peers. I was gonna say competition, but you know, a lot of dApps have flown into Cardano, so he is definitely very excited. And another thing to be excited about Cardano is this: 69% of all the tokens is staked. That is enormous amount. So good for Cardano, right? But they're only getting started. Only getting started. Even though they're in the top 10 already, it's still only getting started. Also, Cosmos, another chain that I'm very proud of, they are going to be upgrading soon, and they're going to come out with replicated security, which used to be called interchain security. But essentially, it's a way for new networks to come aboard, right, and share resources with the main chain. And of course, they have to pay for services in Atom, giving another use case for Atom tokens. So that is coming up. A lot of people are excited, and there are 12 mainnets coming to Cosmos in the near future, right? Because of replicated security and because they just want interoperability as well. So Cosmos is also doing pretty well with 62% of the overall supply being staked. So Cardano still looking good, Cosmos still looking good, and Uniswap, which is the biggest DEX out there, they have just launched their V3 on BNB chain, which means now Uniswap is compatible with Ethereum and BNB, two of the arguably the largest chains and ecosystems out there, right? Absolutely huge. So this is really good for not only BNB, but also for Uniswap, right? Another great thing that has just happened recently. So good stuff. Good stuff. Lastly, I can't miss this, but I did see how we have Congressman Tom Emer, who is against Gary Gensler, also against FDIC chairman, because he believes that the FDIC is punishing crypto projects right now while the banking sector is weak, which he shouldn't be doing. And it made me think, why would the FDIC do this? Obviously, they're buddies with the Fed, with Chair Powell, right? And is there something going on there? Well, Apparently, yes. Yes. So coming up in July, we're going to get our very first, basically, I think the digital dollar, the FedNow program, which is the instant payment service. I don't know if they call it a digital dollar or just a payment service, but basically, the Federal Reserve is going to launch their own network and get citizens and businesses to use this. And get the banks involved too, right? So is that the reason why they decided to spread some FUD about crypto recently, right? Trying to shut down some crypto-friendly banks because one back is scratching the other right now. Could be, right? Well, it'll be interesting once FedNow comes out. I don't know how it's going to work. If we get wallets, right? Or the banks just use it for interbanking communications. I don't quite know. But it's coming out pretty fast in July. So there's that. All right. That is pretty much it. Overall, still, despite everything, despite the market sell-off, despite the banking fears, right? Bitcoin is still holding strong at 24.4. And overall crypto market cap is still above $1 trillion. We'll take that. But a lot more goodness about to come. So, all right, let's do some Q&A. All right, let's see. Boris Leak said, every fiat currency ever has failed. Yep, that is 100% true. And you know what? Based on history, every reserve currency of the world also has failed and lost its status as the reserve currency. And average time is about 100-something years. And guess what? The USD has been the reserve currency for 100-something years. Is something going to replace the USD? Could it be Bitcoin? Could it be Sats? One could hope. It will be wild if Bitcoin becomes the world's reserve currency. What better asset or what better currency? Because it's the only one that's non-sovereign, right? It's the only one that's neutral to the entire world. It's not controlled by any one country, right? So what better currency than Bitcoin, if you think about it? Interactive. Thank you. Let's see. Billions upon billions, George, according to Alexandria. That is correct. Robert, 60% of the time, I'm right every time. All right, scrolling through here. Cathie Wood will be a billionaire. She may be a billionaire already. She's been in the game for a long, long time. She got in Tesla when it was nothing. She got into Bitcoin when it was nothing. She may be a billionaire already. Credit Suisse getting bailed out. Yep, they're getting a $54 billion injection. In addition, I missed this part. In addition, a bank is making a cash tender offer in relation to 10 US dollar denominated senior debt securities for aggregated consideration of up to $2.5 billion. So on top of the $54 billion, they also wanted to get some kind of debt security for $2.5 billion. I mean, that's a lot of billions. That's a lot of billions for one bank. I'm still trying to catch up with these chats here. Is $250 a week to Bitcoin enough? I don't know what's enough for you, Phil. You got to define what's enough. You trying to be a billionaire? Then no, $250 is not going to be enough. You trying to be a millionaire? Yeah, that could be enough. You want to be 100,000 there? Well, that's definitely enough, right? So it just depends. Hey, we got SBF in the chat. Welcome, SBF. Should Powell step down? I don't know. You know, it's one thing to ask for his resignation, but you may regret that when we get someone worse to take the helm. Right? You know, I can't tell if there's someone else that could do the job better. It's easy to nitpick. It's easy for Congress to point fingers at him and not at themselves, right? I mean, I would not take that job, for sure. I would not want that scrutiny. Why would anyone? His salary is like $180,000, right? And he arguably is the most important man on earth when it comes to money. Like his direction, his guidance, his press conferences sway markets by the billions. You know, he has all the power, yet he's making a measly $180,000 a year. T, appreciate it. Joe Lamas, I don't think it's good for the dollar to lose its status as reserve currency. I really think BTC could live besides the dollar store of value. Something is going to replace the USD as a reserve currency eventually. May not be today or tomorrow or 10 years, but give it another 50 years, 100 years, something will replace it, right? Why not Bitcoin? Would you rather see Russian rubles replace it? No. Would you rather see Chinese yuan replace it? No. Do you want to see euros replace it? No, right? So the problem is you don't want to see any reserve currencies from another country, right? So what's the only currency that's neutral, that's non-sovereign to any country? Bitcoin. So why not? Why not make it Bitcoin? Rich, well, I appreciate your support, man. Continue to do what you have been doing. Supporting me and moderating this channel. Shiba about to knock your socks off. You know what? I have not heard any stories about Shibarium. Although people are mad at me saying, why don't you talk about Shibarium and it's, you know, open? I mean, I have not really heard much. And right now, you know, with everything that's going on with the banks, I got to cover banks, got to cover Bitcoin, but hopefully Shibarium takes off. Love to see it succeed. I do like Shib. Crypto media, I'm not going to repeat what you said there. There's no other fiat on the planet that could replace USD. Only Bitcoin could do that. I mean, honestly, what would you rather choose, right? Like, there's really no viable alternative. Everything is weaker versus the dollar. I mean, look at how much euros fell, how much the British pound fell, the yen fell, yuan fell, the franc fell, the Canadian dollar, the Australian dollar. Every dollar failed and got weaker versus the dollar, right? So then what's going to replace the dollar? Has to be something stronger like Bitcoin. And today is DCA night. I totally forgot about that. Shibarium Paramount project in the works. Well, let's hope it's a good movie. Today is DCA. Today is DCA night. And it's looking much better. Less than 32%. Last week, we were in the high 30s or maybe even 40s. This week, obviously, too bad we're not at like 26,000 because this would be in the negative 20s. But negative 33%, pretty good. Let's look at the week. The week up about 7%. For the month, up about only 2%. We did come down a little bit. Last 3 months, 60%. So pretty good overall. This is a long-term strategy, DCA, over a long haul. And today, You know, I love Phantom and I hate Phantom. You know, when there's weakness, Phantom sells off like there's no tomorrow. Like today, there's no reason why Phantom should be down 14%. But then again, when things are good, they do go up quite a lot. But today I did cover about Cosmos and Cardano. So I do have a decent amount of Cosmos already. Cardano, not so much. VeChain is still there. Avalanche, a little bit less. Stacks, Sheeb there. Sheeb is down 8% today. Do we even have XRP? Oh, I do have XRP in here. You know what? I'm just gonna go with Bitcoin. I'm just gonna go with Bitcoin. Bitcoin was at 26 before, right? Obviously, 2,000 less. So we could definitely see that gain, right? Bitcoin dominance has been doing pretty well, has been going up recently, right? So, and you never go wrong with Bitcoin. So I'm, you know, when in doubt, go with Bitcoin, and that's what I'm gonna do today. So $100. So that's 0.00409. All right. So today, just good old Bitcoin. Nothing wrong with Bitcoin. And again, we'll see. We'll see next week where this portfolio will be. And we'll keep doing this until this turns green. And then we head higher. T. Thank you. Johnny, if the Fed came out of CBDC, forced us to use it, wouldn't that make the leap to crypto easy for the average person? Everyone would need to learn about digital currency. Fiat is dying. I don't know about that. I mean, everything is done through a mobile app anyways. No one really knows. What right now, you know, let's just say you're a bank, right? You know, right now there's like Zelle. You could send people money, right, with Zelle through your bank and stuff. It's all digital. If they replace that with FedNow, would you even notice anything? No, right? So it's about behavior. So I don't think with FedNow or whatever CBDC they come out with, they're just going to integrate it to all the banks and all the mobile apps, and you're not even going to know. So you don't really learn anything. And I doubt they're going to allow you to self-custody your own money. I doubt it, because that would be the end to banks. Like what happened recently with all the bank runs. Imagine if you could actually store your own cash into a digital wallet that you could control. That would be the end of banks. Like you would have massive withdrawals out, and you don't even have to go to the bank to withdraw, right? I mean, it'll be nuts. What I like to say, nuts to butts. Like, you know, I don't think they're going to allow that. Phantasma is like an L1, more catered for NFTs, right? I've looked at them before. I don't really have much to say about them. Any crypto from porn industry out? There was one. I don't know if anyone uses that anymore, and I hate to say the name because it's kind of dirty, but you can find it. I don't know if anyone uses it. You can just use Bitcoin. You can use stable coins. You don't need to use a specific altcoin for the porn industry. You can just use Bitcoin. Lewis, I don't have anything to say about Rune. You keep saying you're watching for Jamaica. Welcome, but I don't have anything good to say about Rune, so. Troy says, I think the revolution will occur with Bitcoin if Ledger Wallet was $9.99, cheap and affordable for everyone using Lightning. I don't think that. I don't think that's going to change, man. You could use a mobile wallet. You know it's free, right? So, I mean, if you wanted to be a cold wallet, you know, just take out the SIM card, disconnect it from Wi-Fi. You know, you're pretty good. You're pretty good. I don't think the price of Ledger is what's preventing the crypto revolution. There are free wallet options out there. And even if Ledger was somehow free, that won't do it. What will do it is just continuing education, you know, people introducing their friends and family to Bitcoin and crypto. And as more and more people get involved and ask for it, you know, the giants of the earth, the companies, the financial institutions, they have no choice but to adopt and embrace it. And then, you know, it goes on and on and on and on. Everyone's private financial status forever does not account for people like SBF, stolen money on the ledger, and not divulge keys for sake of privacy. I don't know what you meant by that. You don't need a key to see the transactions. If you know the wallet address, you could see all the transactions ready. Beanie Blue Eyes. I'm not sure what do you mean by that? You mean not be able to take the money out or take it back? Well, that's true. Norman, appreciate it. Jason, Interactive, appreciate it, guys. The True King, appreciate that as well. What do you mean we're all George? It's just a catchphrase. It's nice. People that's been watching me for a long time like to be known as Georges. Basically, it means we stand together. You know, all for one for all kind of thing, right? Stand it together against the FUD, the tyranny, the evildoers, the naysayers, right? We stand against them, and we stand together for Bitcoin and crypto. Johnny, why not? Why not? It could work. Bitcoin's coming back up, 24.5, basically almost the same point this morning at 25, right? Bitcoin's holding tremendously well, despite all the fears right now, right? All right, guys, I'll let you go. Overall, we'll see what happens tomorrow. But, of course, we got another major bank that was just bailed out overseas, right? Are we going to get more bank failures, more distrust in banks? My answer is yes, we will have more. So this is the time to be in Bitcoin, to be holding Bitcoin, to be buying Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the way. It's the way. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.